That is a 1986 Pontiac Fiero. And that is an all-aluminum LS4. And my plan is to put this engine in that car and use the stock transmission. And one of the two questions I get on this build more often than anything else is how I plan on using the stock transmission with the LS. Well, today that's exactly what I'm going to show you, so buckle up. Now, for those of you who have been following the build, you might know a few of these things already, but for people who are new, when I say all-aluminum 5.3 LS, what I actually mean is LS4. These came with this funky bell housing pattern that doesn't work on anything else. It's basically a front-wheel drive bolt pattern, which actually tremendously complicates things. So I understand why a lot of people are messaging me and commenting saying, how are you going to make that work? Now, this is the stock Fiero transmission. You can obviously see that it physically bolts up to it. This engine never came in a car that had a manual transmission. This was only ever offered in automatic cars. Which means that there's no stock kind of vehicle to take reference from or use stock or mildly upgraded parts to make this build work. Seems like an issue, right? Well, that is where spec comes in. Here you can see the part numbers. SC773 is for the clutch, and SCLS4S4 is for the flywheel. So because this is such a uncommon, because it's been done before, but because this is such an uncommon build, I did have to have this actually made, and luckily Pickard Performance, they work with spec, and I actually ordered this clutch through Pickard Performance, so shout out to those guys. But because they do a lot of work like this, spec was able to get this in somewhat of a timely manner. I've never seen a place staple the sticker to the instructions. This is how we're going to make it work. So this is our brand new flywheel. It is a steel flywheel. I didn't opt for the aluminum one because that's a lot of this, you know. And then obviously our brand new pressure plate. And in here is our stage 3 clutch. So today we are going to get the clutch and pressure plate and everything bolted onto the engine. But first, I think we need to clean this transmission because it is grungy. It's not going to go back in the car like that. So this thing is grungy, man. Holy crap. This thing used to coach for the Indianapolis Colts because this thing is Tony Grungy. I don't think I have a choice. I think that I need to go and get some oven cleaner and find a way to power wash this thing. Alright, while the transmission's drying off, hopefully you can hear me because this thing's really loud. It actually cleaned up really well. But while that thing's drying off, we're going to get the flywheel and clutch and everything bolted up to the engine. I had to turn the heater off for a second so we could check this out. So luckily it does come with a new throwout bearing, which is awesome because I didn't think it would. I was expecting to have to order that. So here's the new pressure plate, and don't worry, I will brake clean everything before it all goes together. That is super nice. Looks like it's powder coated, which wouldn't surprise me. Let's try and set that down gently. Yeah, I'm gonna have to clean it all anyway. And then check out this clutch, man. I have honestly never had a clutch this nice. It does say flywheel side right there, FW side. It has been probably 4 years since last time I've messed with putting a clutch and everything in. This is just such a nice piece, dude. All right, let's start getting it installed. And yes, I will Loctite these. I'm just trying to make sure that they're all lined up and started. Okay, I'm gonna tighten everything down. Now that I'm sure it is all the way tightened, I'm gonna go back through and Loctite them. Oh, I'm an idiot. Alright, that was almost really bad. There was only 4 bolts holding this rear cover in. And that's why I like to say you should always rush and never pay attention to what you're doing. Pop this off, got those in, and now I'm ready to torque these down. I do have them Loctited. And I'm going to take these to the proper torque spec. Cool. Alright, flywheel is bolted on. Good, good. We'll save that. Next up is the clutch. We'll get this in. Hopefully you can see right there it says flywheel side. So the way this was in the package, this paint mark was lined up here, so that's how I'm going to put it back on here. First I'm going to make sure to clean this surface really good. So, I've often said that I don't want to do any manual transmission builds because manual transmission builds are expensive. And I still believe that. This clutch costs more than any converter I've ever had. Now, maybe that's not strictly true because the converter that's in James Brown here, that's like an $1,100 converter, but I didn't buy it new. I didn't buy it new, I got it used. This clutch and flywheel and everything and pressure plate was $700. So it's like, man, I do not want to get used to this. Honestly, that actually turned out pretty decent aside from right here and right here where I got real sloppy with it. Oh, and right here. Okay, never mind. It didn't turn out decent. But from like right here, it looks good. So aside from mating them, that's almost it. The only thing left to discuss real quick is you want to measure the distance from the pilot bearing to the mating surface. So from the mating surface to the pilot bearing, just to make sure that the distance is right, because you don't want them, like when it's all tightened down and everything, you don't want it pushing on the pressure plate. and wear things prematurely. But yeah, aside from that, that's just about everything I can think of. In our case, we need to wait on the oil pan because the starter's going to mount to that. So I might need to cut out a section of the bottom just so the starter can engage down there. And then I just need to throw the pilot bearing in the transmission, and then we can get it bolted up and probably get everything back on the subframe. So I think that's going to do it for today's video. I'm starting to get pretty hungry. It's like 2 o'clock. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying this LS Turbo Fiero build series. I know it's something a little different. A lot of people seem to be enjoying it. Just watching some of the challenges that come along with this. I have no idea what we're going to do in the next video. Might try to start tackling either the fuel system or the wiring. The fuel system should be pretty straightforward. Just have to drop the tank. Wiring should also be pretty straightforward. I think there's only 3 or 4 or 5 wires from the stock harness that we need. But yeah, that is definitely going to do it for today's video. If you want to support the channel, you can go check out the Teespring store. Merch is first link in the description below. If you need fuel injectors, go check out Snake Eater Performance or anything on their site and use code Snydertron for 10% off. All of that helps out the channel. So again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the support. Thank you for subscribing and clicking that bell. We'll see you next time.